A sudden flare reveals a giant spider that has eaten the crew and is carrying their trackers in its stomach. Andy panics and flees but falls into a crack and becomes trapped beneath the creature. As he tries to escape, the spider relentlessly pursues him, slashing at him from above. The movie begins with the mining spaceship Borealis traveling through space, 4 years from its destination, carrying miners and cryopods. Suddenly, an asteroid collides with the ship, causing the cryopods to eject. The ship's AI, Leonard, wakes the miners, including Andy, just as the impact happens, instructing Andy to stay calm and follow safety protocols. The cryopods are launched toward a nearby planet while the Borealis is destroyed. Robotic arms assist Andy in getting suited up and restoring his oxygen, but many cryopods are damaged during the collision or atmospheric entry. Andy's pod barely survives the descent, but struggles with speed. Just before crashing into a hill, Leonard maneuvers the pod, allowing Andy to survive. Andy wakes up after a memory of his family jolts him, finding himself in a rocky mountain range under dark, stormy skies. His attempts to contact the ship fail, and the ground begins to shake. Leonard urges him to leave the damaged pod, but it's hard to open. While searching the survival kit, Andy finds there's no flare gun due to his low rank. In desperation, he uses a fire extinguisher to break the pod's window, but injures himself when the ground shifts. Leonard warns him about the harsh environment, prompting Andy to seal a tear in his suit with spray. Leonard then alerts him that the pod is on fire. Acting quickly, Andy digs his way out, clutching his son's toy, his only precious item. Stranded, he watches as the Borealis enters the atmosphere, engulfed in flames and crashing completely. The shock wave throws Andy several meters away, but he survives. When he asks Leonard about their location, Leonard reveals they are in an unmapped star system, far from their intended destination. Spotting a light in the distance, Andy heads toward it while trying to use the radio. Along the way, he discovers the wreckage of the Borealis and another pod. When he tries to take the oxygen tank from the pod, he panics upon seeing a dead body inside. Gathering his courage, he retrieves the tank, only to find it damaged. Frustrated, he continues toward the light, unaware of the blood and scratch marks near the pod that suggest he's not alone. Eventually, he reaches the light and meets another survivor named Dwayne, who is relieved to see him. Dwayne reveals he's considering eating the dead bodies for survival, as they might be the only two left. He explains that the crash was caused by the company taking a shortcut through an asteroid belt to save fuel. Dwayne, a communications worker, plans to send a distress signal to Earth, which will take 8 months to arrive. And even the fastest rescue ship, the RTS, would take an additional 2 years to reach them. Dwayne suggests they head south to locate the other half of the Borealis and set up a base camp. When Andy starts to lose hope, Dwayne motivates him by reminding him of his strength. However, Dwayne's encouragement pushes Andy back, causing him to accidentally unplug a wire. As he turns to fix it, a creature suddenly appears and drags Dwayne away, leaving Andy in shock. Despite the chaos, Andy completes the distress signal and takes Dwayne's gun before moving toward the ship's other half alone, with his oxygen running low. He then receives a call on the radio from another survivor, Naomi, who is trapped in her pod and shares her location. Leonard warns Andy that the area is unstable and visibility is poor, advising him to take a safer route to conserve oxygen. Naomi pleads for help, saying she has enough oxygen for both of them, and Andy agrees to assist her. As he makes his way to her, they begin to talk and get to know each other. As night falls after several hours, Andy feels something unusual and thinks he sees movement in the darkness. He asks Leonard to scan the area, but the AI, deemed outdated by Naomi, cannot assist. Continuing his walk, Andy spots shadowy figures and tells Naomi about Dwayne, wondering what happened to him. He soon discovers strange footprints leading to a hole covered in webs, which terrifies him. He warns Naomi about the possibility of alien spiders on the planet and quickened his pace, sensing danger as he sees more webs. Naomi questions why he took the job, suggesting it must be tough and implying he might be escaping his past. This prompts a memory of his wife and son playing, and Andy reveals that they left him. Suddenly, Andy hears a low growling noise and begins scanning his surroundings anxiously. Leonard then warns him that multiple trackers are approaching, which is unsettling because they belong to crew members who are already dead. As the trackers draw nearer, Andy fires a flare gun to illuminate the area, and the bright light reveals the terrifying sight of giant spiders with scorpion-like tails advancing toward him. Panic sets in, and Andy runs for his life, but he loses his footing and falls into a crack in the ground. Above him, a spider pursues, its legs skittering dangerously close to him. Andy tumbles several meters down to the edge of a cliff, but miraculously manages to survive, clinging to life, a necessity for the unfolding plot. The giant spider above roars in frustration but stops short of following him down. Desperate, Andy contacts Naomi to inform her about the spiders, revealing the horrifying truth that the trackers belong to crew members who have been consumed and are trapped inside the creatures' stomachs. In the midst of this chaos, Andy realizes his suit is leaking oxygen, prompting him to use the last of his sealant spray to patch the tear, as he fights to stay alive in this perilous situation. Suddenly, Dwayne's voice crackles through the radio, informing Andy and Naomi that he is engaged in a battle with the giant spiders. Naomi urges Andy, who is hesitant, to go help Dwayne, explaining that Dwayne has a larger oxygen supply. After the fall, Andy's GPS malfunctions, prompting Naomi to guide him toward Dwayne's location via radio. When Andy spots Dwayne's flare, he rushes to him, only to find Dwayne under attack. Dwayne yells that he has a plan, but before he can act, a spider leaps onto him. Panicking, Andy hides behind a nearby pod, feeling helpless as he hears the spider devouring Dwayne. Another spider begins to sniff around for him, but Naomi distracts it by turning on the lights of a nearby pod. Taking advantage of this, Andy slips into another pod, only to discover a decaying body inside. Realizing the danger, Andy urges Naomi to turn off the lights to avoid detection. Instead, she activates all the lights at once, drawing the spiders toward them and giving Andy a chance to escape. However, a spider continues to chase him until he stumbles into a foggy area. He warns Naomi to leave her pod, but she replies that she's still trapped. To calm her down, Andy starts singing a soothing song he used to sing to his son. Naomi then reveals the tragic news that Dwayne is dead, and they are the last two survivors on the planet. As they navigate through the fog, Andy wonders why the spiders have stopped chasing him. He encounters a mesmerizing swarm of purple fireflies, but they suddenly turn aggressive in attack, trying to break his helmet and tear his suit. Andy narrowly escapes. Naomi theorizes that the spiders might be afraid of the fireflies, explaining their retreat. Before Andy can think further, a massive creature's mouth opens from the ground and swallows him whole. As he descends, vivid memories of his family flash before him, and he disappears inside the creature. Inside, Andy desperately calls for Leonard's help and tells him he feels like he's having a heart attack. Leonard quickly activates the defibrillator in Andy's suit, causing the creature to react violently and spit Andy out forcefully. Once ejected, Andy scrambles to his feet just as the monster resumes its pursuit. He then tumbles into a cave-like structure filled with fireflies once again. The glowing creatures swarm around him aggressively, compelling him to flee through the cave. After making it to the other side, the fireflies cease their attack and leave him alone. With only a small amount of oxygen left in his suit, Andy decides to head toward Naomi instead of the remaining section of the Borealis. He arrives just in time before his oxygen runs out, and she quickly connects him to her oxygen supply. Andy then attempts to free Naomi's trapped leg, but he lacks the strength to do so. Using her safety tools, he ingeniously creates a lever that allows him to lift her leg, successfully freeing her. Naomi confirms that her leg isn't broken. After they exit the pod, Andy wraps a piece of metal around her leg to create a splint, stabilizing it for easier walking. Grateful, Naomi thanks Andy for prioritizing her safety over his own. Soon, a swarm of spiders surrounds them, forcing them to flee. Naomi's AMI injects her with morphine to ease her leg pain. After running for a while, they trip, and a spider looms overhead, ready to attack. Naomi quickly fires her flare gun, distracting the spiders as they chase the flare. Seizing the opportunity, they rush into the remaining part of the Borealis. Naomi struggles to close the doors due to a malfunction, but after several attempts, she succeeds just as one spider gets caught and sliced in half. The remaining spiders begin banging on the door, pushing Naomi and Andy to retreat further into the ship. The emergency lights flicker on, indicating the backup generator is working. Naomi navigates confidently, while Andy feels lost, having only been aboard a few times and mostly in cryosleep. Eventually, they discover a livable deck with sufficient supplies. However, as they attempt to open it, they notice a trail of blood, Realizing a spider has entered the borealis, they hide and watch as a spider lays an egg, covering it with cobwebs and a dead body, leaving Andy disgusted and fighting the urge to vomit. When the spider leaves, another one ambushes them. In a panic, Andy locks them in a room, believing they are safe, but Naomi quickly realizes they are trapped in an airlock. Understanding their mistake, Andy bangs on the door with a metal bar, but it's futile. Feeling hopeless, they remove their helmets and begin to talk. Andy shows Naomi a recorded message from his wife and son, revealing they died in a car crash after his birthday, leaving him with survivor's guilt. He feels he should have been the one to die. Naomi reassures him that saving her proves his life still has meaning and admits his actions have restored her hope. After a moment, she hugs him and notices fireflies stuck to his suit. Suddenly, the spider breaks through the lock. Thinking quickly, Naomi throws the fireflies at it, causing the creature to back off. They seize the chance to run but nearly fall into the cargo bay. The spider charges at them, causing both to tumble into the bay. As it pursues them, Andy throws Naomi's sealant spray at the spider, which bites into the can, causing it to explode and stunning the creature temporarily. Andy suggests using the mining drill to kill the spider for good. Naomi distracts the spider by running and yelling for Andy to figure out how to eliminate it. He devises a plan to crush the spider under a pod on an elevated platform and asks Naomi to lure it toward him while he searches for a working pod. Leonard informs him that the only operational pod is 2 levels up. As Andy climbs to the pod, the spider relentlessly attacks Naomi. To help her, he turns off all the lights, knowing the spider is sensitive to light, allowing her to escape its sight. Naomi finds emergency lights and straps them on to attract the spider's attention, while Andy works to manually eject the pod. Leonard warns him that he has shut down power to prioritize Naomi's safety, and restoring it will take at least 15 minutes. Andy decides to override the system and jumpstart the pod himself. Naomi, now illuminated by emergency lights, successfully draws the creature toward Andy's position. He connects his suit to the pod to charge it manually. Leonard warns Andy that this will short-circuit his AI system, meaning Leonard will cease to exist, and also cautions that Andy might not survive the impact. Despite the dangers, Leonard expresses its willingness to sacrifice itself along with Andy. As the creature moves directly beneath the pod, Andy ejects it onto the spider while recalling the car accident that took his family's lives. The pod crushes the spider, but the impact leaves Andy unconscious. Naomi rushes to him, crying, believing he has died. A moment later, Andy wakes up to find Naomi embracing him tightly. They share a quiet moment watching the sunrise on the planet, appreciating the strange beauty despite the harsh conditions and deadly creatures. To their surprise, Leonard reactivates, explaining that it has undergone an upgrade. Andy smiles in relief as Leonard plays a beautiful song for them. Holding hands, Andy and Naomi look toward the future. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, let us know which movie you want us to recap for you.